I wanted to ask about the question of identity and targeting and how that's changing with the deprecation of third-party cookies, the mobile identifiers, at least for Apple, going away. How is Taboola shifting in terms of its uh, how it uses identity, builds identity, and acquires audiences?
So the deprecation of third-party cookies is actually, I mean, it's not new. Um, we and the rest of the ad tech world manage without the ability to track users cross-domain, which is basically what the third-party cookie enables. We managed to do that while working on browsers like Safari, Firefox, and recently the new Microsoft browser, the Edge Enheim, are also um, preventing. They're not sharing the third-party cookie, that ID. So primarily, what it does, it takes away the ability to track users across domains, and that's the main challenge. There are other challenges, which are privacy and the need, at least in some countries, to let the users know that they're being tracked and that you're collecting data. But other than that, that's the main issue. And the big news is that Google has decided to deprecate or basically stop transferring that data, that third-party cookie, on the main browser on Chrome. But unlike Safari, unlike Firefox, they're actually working, and they're working with the industry on an alternative mechanism. So we're not sure what that's going to be, but it's not simply removing that capability away completely, but rather trying to find an alternative solution for it. And we're in association with all the main players in the industry. We do that. That's what we do. We work with Google. We work with others to find a solution for that data, which is essential for targeting, obviously.
So tell us about how you identify identity, and let's talk about the U.S. because it's really hard to have a global conversation about identity and how it works. Tell us how that works, how you work with vendors like TransUnion, and what an identity graph looks like for Taboola.
All right, so that's a great question, actually, and I think that identity graph is a core component to any company that uses user identity for its business. That's one of the things that will probably grow. The importance of that will grow. We have, of course, our own identity graph. We work with partners like TransUnion on various levels. We work with them on receiving data sets, so data that they have that they can share with us, that it's legal and okay for us to acquire. We acquired that data. We acquired that data from various partners. We use that data. We basically add it to our graph. We add it to the user base that we have. I should say that Taboola is a non-PII company. We're not collecting personal identifiable data about users, but we are basically matching a signal to a user. And to that signal, we're trying that signal to be deterministic, meaning a signal that has a long persistency, it can stay. And we're adding profiles to that signals so that will increase the probability of, at the end of the day, serving the most relevant ad to the most relevant users.
What's Taboola's strategy and offering around attribution and performance metrics?
So it's a great question. It's one of the main challenges with the deprecation of third-party cookies that the industry will need to handle, and so do we. At the moment, we rely on third-party cookie for attribution and for measuring performance. We do that by working with our advertisers, by installing either, some kind of, a pixel or some kind of ability to receive a signal from an advertiser. We receive that signal. That signal is linked to a conversion or to the event that the advertiser would like us to measure. And that enables measuring performance and attributing that performance to the platform that provided it, basically to us. So we rely on third-party cookies. There are other ways to measure attribution. It varies by platform. So with mobile on applications and the method is slightly different. It'll be we'll usually use a third party. There's also a way to do it through server to server. But at the end of the day, this is actually probably at the core of what the industry will need to replace. Because if you take away third-party cookies as is, most platforms out there lose the ability to track performance and to attribute that performance to the source of the traffic. So that will need to be, there'll need to be a new mechanism to enable that. And Google actually said that they're gonna help creating that mechanism to make sure that attribution is still possible.
Getting back to identity, your remit is global, and of course, there's so many different markets, regulations, business strategies. Where do you think the notion of identity is developing globally, or by market, or some trends that you're seeing?
So the identity from an advertising technology platform standpoint, identity is crucial to deliver the service that we deliver. So it is important and developing all across the globe. The main component that is currently, I mean, there are two things currently that that provide an obstacle for that. One is privacy, which of course we want to keep the user's privacy. We want to respect that. We want to make sure that the users are notified whenever it's required, and that's required in certain markets in the world. And the transferring the user history. So making sure that we have data across domain. These things are important equally in all domain markets in the world. In the US, regulation currently does not require consent or mechanisms to actually notify the user what kind of data is collected. In other markets like the UK, France, Germany, you actually need to, the user needs to provide a consent. And if the user agree for data to be collected, then we can collect data and we can use that according to our privacy policy, according to our data usage policy, which are visible to the user if they want to read it. It's okay for us to use it for serving ads and providing a better service for advertisers and hopefully a better ecosystem.
And finally, how do you work with publishers? I know they're a big part of the ecosystem with Taboola. How do you work with publishers utilizing the data that they have?
So we're by definition, we sit on the publisher pages. We basically sit across all publisher pages. So we have visibility to the publisher data. And publishers we know that publishers are now going through a lot of effort to build their own graphs, to use DMPs, data management platforms, in order to maximize their knowledge about the users that they have. And they also, most of them are in the process of actually working with the users so that the user will log in, so that they'll have more persistent data about the user. All that is visible to us. Up to the login data is not visible to us, but all the other on-page data that the publisher gets is visible to us. It's part of what we do. It's part of the ability to optimize and use that data to, as I've said earlier, serve the most relevant ads to the relevant users and maximize RPM, maximize the revenue that we generate for the publishers. For us, our commercial agreements with publishers are usually revenue share, and the interests are completely aligned. And as such, we have visibility to that data. It helps us generate more revenue.
And how are publishers sort of building their own DMPs, or what are you seeing, from some innovative publishers in terms of making more relevant data available?
Publishers, most of them, the innovative ones and the big ones, acknowledge that they need to they need to start and they need to collect their data and try to maximize whatever assets that they have. And your own data is probably one of the most valuable assets that you can have. They, most of them, I mean, I'm actually not aware of any publisher who tried to set up to sort of self-build a DMP. They will approach, there's several companies in the space, in the market that provides DMP services. The publishers will work, they'll choose one of these companies, and then these companies or that DMP will help them collect the data, segment it, so differentiate the different kinds of data, define what logic is required to understand how to segment your users. These are users interested in sports, interested in fashion, interested in whatever the topics, whatever the content, or whatever the information the publisher provides. And according to that, utilize better targeting. And we're very open. We're always ready to work with publishers and to leverage the information that they have and to marry that with what we have for that specific publisher in order to maximize return on ad spend and in publisher terms, the RPM, revenue per 1,000 impressions.